Take your time to read it. These codes apply not only to all participants, but to also us organizers as well. So just inclusivity, we don't want to harass anyone. That's not why we're here. We want to create, have fun, consider your content before posting, and so let's just do this the right way. And so what we've done at the music, the hackathon that as Katrina mentioned before, is we've had all days hackathons. Jason can show you those slides where we've had a lot of individuals working, collaborating. We also have brainstorming that Katrina will be taking over. That's very important. You get to share your ideas and hopefully match with other like-minded entities. We've also done a lot of hacking, and then workshops. You'll have a lot of workshops today. And eventually we have demo performances. I encourage all of you, I won't force you, but try your best, and let's definitely, promote something. I know it's a long day, but I'm gonna actually, once I'm done with this, I have a track that I'm working on, which is back here to this video, which is the red sky in San Francisco. I have this dystopian track that I'm working on. I want to score something to it. So make sure you promote, showcase something. To tell you a little bit more about today's event, which is the Songwriter Lab, I'm going to pass it on to our lead organizer, Stephanie Reimer. Take it over, Steph.
Yep, so super excited to have everyone here today. I just want to tell you a little bit about Songwriter Lab as a general event. So we had the first one last year back in 2019. It was an in-person event. This year we're doing it remotely. So it's going to be super interesting to see like how things work in this format. But essentially, like we had people creating all different types of music. Some like performed it live on the day, like some made tracks and like demonstrated kind of what they'd recorded. We had people bringing like different types of instruments and performing. And as we mentioned before, like a whole different range of experience levels. So like definitely want to make sure like everyone's comfortable with getting on board, like performing, putting out demos. Like it's super relaxed environment. Like everyone just wants to hear what you have to share. And in terms of the schedule for today, it's broken up into 4 parts. Starting with, so right now we have the intro by MCL, and soon we're gonna dive into, we have a few talks for you by Adrianna with Triple Threat Artistry. Chantelle is gonna talk about writing violin parts with a Fingerchart app. And we have Jiajie Chen, who's going to talk about from lab to life, how to bring your musical ideas to the next level based on a composition that you wrote at the previous Songwriter Lab. And then for group formation, Katerina is going to guide us through some facilitated brainstorming, where you can find collaborators to write music, to hack, or some kind of combination of the two. And then alongside that, and you're welcome to try and do both, like either create, find a group to create your own compositions, or to join guided workshops to be guided to creating a composition, or a mix of the two. We have 5 workshops going on for you today. Emma Clay is going to be giving a workshop on the art of the start, honing inspiration to begin your song. We have Clifford Lane with Chasing a Song, constructing your personal wavelength. So both of those two are going to be really focused on getting started, opening up your ideas, and about the songwriting process. Next, we're going to have 2 kind of parallel workshops happening at the same time. One by Patrick Cooper, Spencer Furworth, and Gonzalo Silva on all-inclusive hip-hop writing with Koala Sampler. And then we're going to have Dewey, who actually gave a workshop at the Remote Music Hackathon, if anyone was there back in May. He's going to be talking about creating formal structure of an electronic music track. And that's going to be like recreating an existing piece and then using that to inspire your own creations. And then at the end of the day, we're going to have Patrick Giamitani, who's going to be talking about publishing your music and actually getting it out there. And then finally at 8 p.m. we have the showcase. So that's open to everyone, whether you've created as an individual, as a team, or as part of a workshop. Don't forget to sign up before. We'll post a sign up link where you can add a slide with your project name and what you want to present. Just one note, it is going to be live streamed over YouTube, so just want to make sure everyone's comfortable with that. But definitely encourage everyone to sign up.
There you go. Bring on that music. So before I introduce our first speaker today for the talks, we're gonna begin with the talks. But just looking on the side here, Jason, you seen the incoming? I see people from Chicago. That's Tahira. Hello. Jay Faye is from Jersey. Making it happen, Jersey. Got someone from Manhattan, Stephanie. Brooklyn in the house. Peter, I see you. Hey, Phoebe, of course, from Japan. So this is international out here. So I'm just gonna stop talking and introduce our amazing first speaker. Her name is Adrianna Mateo. She has had an amazing quarantine, I would say, summer or time. She's worked with open for Alicia Keys, sung on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, acted at the Met Opera, co-produced her upcoming single with a Grammy-nominated team. Done with that, she's a recording artist, solo violinist, singer, songwriter, actress, and also faculty at Face the Music at the Kaufman Center. So to tell you more about Triple Threat Artistry, I introduce Adrianna Mateo.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It very vividly reminds me of when I first started writing songs. I didn't know how to put words and songs together or music together. And I distinctly remember entering a room full of extremely accomplished songwriters and playing like one or two keys on the piano while singing into a sheet of paper. So I'm just really glad to be here. I just wanted to double check that everybody is on mute just so that there's no accidental interruptions. Okay, so first I just wanted to share something that I wrote, and I wrote it specifically for the Kaufman Center's Day of Musical Action, which was an amazing event with, culture makers, Grammy winners, Alan Menken, Desmond Child, Erica Ender, who wrote Despacito, the Lopez's, who wrote Frozen, and I wrote it specifically for a live stream, and I think you'll see how, like, the reasons why I did certain things as a result of that. So
Chinatown, lights are loud, old flame in my DMs. I'm feeling right, not right, up all night, daytime comes and I wonder, will those lights light up again? Should I crack my heart open? Wanting this, wanting too much, starving to touch things I said I can't unsend. Understood but left unread. 3 dots, pause, silence. What's there left to do except the live? Disconnect the live. Disconnect the live. Disconnect the live. Wires crossed, thoughts on loop. Way too soon to tangle me strings naturally attached, naturally we match casually. I can't stop my glow up for your ego, save you and call you my hero, love you but I'm number one, tune up cause I'm number one, like a violin string snap, cut the cord holding me back, 3 dots, no regrets, nothing left to do except the live, disconnect live, disconnect live, disconnect live. Disconnect.
Thanks, everyone.
Woo, fire.
Amazing.
Fire. Woo. La, la, la. Yeah, that is hot. Yo, go on. Sorry for cutting you off. Woo.
No, that's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Oh, wow. Thanks, everyone, for such great feedback. So I guess a talk can't very clearly delineate any one method. There are a million ways to do this, right? And the big challenge about this time is, the pandemic, all of the stuff that comes along with that, and also cutting through the noise. I think my personal approach to creating something like this is, well, the key part is carving out that space for yourself, right? And it's really hard because of like TikTok culture, and I love TikTok, but it's just, finding the boundaries to give yourself a little bit of room to just kind of peel back the layers, finding your artistic north. What is actually a metric of success to you? For some people, that's being on the cover of Vogue. To some people, that's having a sold out run at Joe's Pub, and anything beyond that. And these are different legitimate metrics of success, and you should be really honest with yourself, and surround yourself in an environment and around people who support this metric of success, or at least can see the value in it. I guess talking about lyrics, I've always thought of myself primarily as a wordsmith. I think violin just kind of came because I was absolutely infatuated with the instrument. And I figured that if I mastered one thing, I would have the ethic and the framework to take apart other things. And it would just kind of take, going through that dip of like, oh, my taste isn't, my craft isn't where my taste is, and just pushing through that. Specifically for this, I knew that I had to grab people's attention right away because it was for live stream. So I think for obvious reasons, starting a song with Chinatown is suddenly like, oh, what is this person going to sing about? And then by the second line, lights all out, is this getting a little sexy? What's going on? As a sidebar, that's what was going on at the beginning of the pandemic. All the lights were out in Chinatown, unfortunately. And, thankfully things are starting to pick up. But then by the third line, old flame in, like, oh, this is definitely sexy. But by the end of the second verse, the protagonist actually chooses to not go down that route because it's not a healthy choice. It's not a good place to be in. And so ultimately it's a song, I think, about female empowerment. So yeah, I think taking these moments within a song, within a career, to set up expectations and to then break those expectations by surprising your audience, surprising who's listening to you, I think is a really great way to not just attract attention, which I consider to be a metric for success in the lane I'm in, but also to tell a really great story. And that's what we're here to do, to tell our own stories in a compelling way. To just kind of briefly go over some practical aspects of this, because songwriting takes time. Doing various art forms takes time. A lot of this is time management, and that's my favorite thing to ask of artists that I come into contact with, whether that's through the Kaufman Music Center or now through the Pit, where I just started teaching. I like, just as an exercise, if I'm feeling super stressed, I like setting up 3 lists side by side. The first one is, what do I have to do? The second one is, what do I want to do? And the third one is, what should I do? What do I feel I have to do? And I find that that third column most of the time is the stuff that's stressing me out the most, but really doesn't have to be addressed most of the time. I also want to talk to the serial procrastinators out there. Procrastination is not a bad thing. I think it depends on how you procrastinate, right? There's a difference between binging Emily in Paris all in one night, which I may or may not have done, and using that time to fall down that YouTube hole and listen to interviews and take chunks of information and kind of put it all together in a way that you can synthesize. And that is going to be more valuable to you than practicing for like 3 hours or, trying to find, the plugin, if that's not necessarily your lane where you feel the most fluid and joyous. Overall, I just wanted to say thank you for coming here, for taking all these baby steps. This is part of it, and to surround yourself with all these wonderful songwriters and artists. You are exactly where you're supposed to be right now, and I'm looking forward to all of the songs and the art that you make. Please feel free to reach out to me over Instagram and to follow on Spotify. Thanks so much.
That was amazing. Adrianna, I'm watching all the comments out there and people are like, how did she do this? How do especially everything you were saying about procrastinating. So many people could identify with that. And I certainly do. We are blessed to have you here today. The voice, the violin was killer fire. I had to put my Drake image in the background, let you all know this was, I don't know. I need that track. I need that track right now. Let's give it a round of applause. Make sure you follow Adrianna at linktr.ee. You see it all right there on the screen. Take that information, follow her on Spotify, check her newsletter, Venmo for sure, PayPal. People, come on, reach out, talk to her. She's killing it right now. Thank you so much for being here. We hope you stay for the whole day, Adrianna, and maybe follow some of those individuals on Slack, give them some pointers and feedback. I'm sure your expertise is greatly appreciated. So I don't know how we follow this, but we gotta keep moving. I'm watching the notes here. Jason is like, hurry up, let's go. So next coming up, and again, we didn't plan this, but we're going from one violinist to another violinist, and maybe did we plan this out? I don't know. Listen, Mercury's in retrograde, so anything can happen. This is we hot right now. Thank you again for joining us today. Our next talk is Chantelle Ko. Chantelle is an amazing artist. She's also classically trained violinist, violin teacher, and a sonic artist with a background in live interactive computer music performance. She studied music in music technology at UBC, and then went on to complete her Master of Music in Sonic Art degree at the University of Calgary. In addition to working on interactive music and constructing new digital musical instruments with Artistry, she enjoys making music indoors that are experimental, soundscape, and music concrete. So I love Chantelle. Chantelle also helped us out at at the hackathon in the past, and that's how we met. And I've been following her on YouTube with coming up with these crazy designs and softwares, and she brings it all together. So to tell you more about writing violin parts with a Fingerchart application, I introduce you Chantelle Co. Chantelle, take it over.
Hello, everybody. So yeah, I am all the way in Canada right now. So hello, everyone down there. Yes. So when I first made my Fingerchart application, I initially intended it for helping out my beginner students with learning fingerings and learning music theory. But recently, over the past few weeks, I've had more composer friends come to me and say that it is actually really helpful for them for understanding um, the violin and making sure that their music that they're writing for the violin um, makes sense for the violin and isn't awkward. Because with every instrument, there are some musical things that feel more awkward to play than others. And it is really, really important to check that before you hand it over to whoever is playing your music and recording it. Because if it is awkward or difficult and they need time to practice it beforehand, then it's going to slow the process down. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, so you can see that now. Um, Also, if my internet connection starts to break up, somebody yell at me and I'll repeat what I said. So for my talk, I'm going to show you the key features that with this application that can help you with writing music on the violin. And then if I have time at the very end, I might point out a few things that are a little awkward to play on the violin if I have time. I did notice when I was practicing that I was running out of time. So I also made notes about that here, and I'll post that in the Slack. So first of all, if you want to download this application, I have posted it on my Patreon, and I also have made videos about it for updates and um, have used it for explaining some music theory stuff on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. So I have made this with Max MSP, but I did save it as its own standalone application, and I've made a version of it that is compatible with Mac computers, and another version that is compatible with Windows computers. So that way it is as accessible as possible. And with this version, the main component of it is you click any note on the piano, and then the note shows up on the music staff and as an X on the violin finger chart. I have made another version that is the opposite, where you click on the violin finger chart and then the note pops up on the piano. But I am still adding a few more features to that, and the most updated version of it will be available soon. So to get started, first of all, you notice that the notes, they stay behind on the screen. So if you want to clear that, you just press the spacebar. And if you want, you can also connect a MIDI keyboard to it. So here at this drop-down menu is the MIDI input. So you would just select your keyboard there. And there's also a MIDI output. So if you want to send out the MIDI data to another application, that's there for that. And right now I have my cheapy Casio keyboard connected. So, oh, it is off. It turned off on its own. There we go. There it is. Yeah, so there's that. And then if you look up at the top of the screen, you see 3 toggles here. And what these do is they turn on and off the notes that you're able to play in the different positions on the violin finger chart. So right now, there's only first position that is on. So if you want to keep your music as easy as humanly possible, make sure your notes are staying within first position. And then the next easiest position above that is third. So right now, if you have both toggles on, it means first and third position is on. If you turn that off, only third position is on. So what is third position? That is starting here at middle C, and then if you just go across the strings, so it starts off this row of notes in the middle here. So basically, in first position where the third finger lands, if you shift the hand up, where your first finger will then land where the third finger used to be. So that's third position. And then the highest range of that for where the hand is sitting now would be sort of an F or F sharp on the G string, and then going across C, G, and D there. So then that's your range, all the notes in between these two rows. And then the third toggle is the notes that are just pretty much everything that's above third position. So in terms of that area on the violin, we don't use it as much on the G, D, and A strings. When we do, it's usually either because we like that tone color, because the color of the violin changes the higher you go, or it's just easier for fingerings. But on the E string, you don't have any options. If you want to play these notes that are way in the stratosphere, that's the only place to do it. So that is that. So let's say you are using this to figure out what works and what doesn't, and you find a melody that you really like and you want to record it. So all you do is you press this blue toggle here to start recording and then play what you want. I don't know, whatever. And then turn it off to stop. And then you can play it back, so you can double check. And let's say you want to use it for later, just hit the export and save it as a MIDI file to your computer. So I'll just save it as an example to my desktop. And now you can drop that MIDI file into your DAW, or you can drop it into a notation software. But when it comes to a notation software, I just want to point something out. So I'm going to drop it into MuseScore, but you can use whatever you feel like. This works with most. So you'll see that what I played, it looks very staccato. There's rests everywhere. It actually doesn't look too bad. But sometimes when you do this, it looks really, really messy, especially if there's chords in there. Because the notation software is just doing its best guess for what the rhythms should look like. So you may need to be doing some cleaning up of that before you hand it over to a violinist to record. And if I go back, let's move that over there. And let's say you already written a piece out, like recorded it in your DAW, and you want to double check that the fingerings are okay. Well, all you do is press the import button and select your MIDI file, and then hit play, and then it'll play for you. And depending on the tempo, it might be too fast for your eyes to watch on the fingerboard and keep track of. So then you just use this slider to slow it down. So it's slowing down things in milliseconds. So 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So that way you can follow along easier that way. It doesn't go faster, only slower. And a little safety net so that I implemented here is this drop down menu. So right now it's on chromatic, but if let's say I select D major, first of all, it'll cover the flat side of the music staff because there are only sharps in the key of D major. And now if let's say I try to input a note that is outside of the key of D major, like an F natural, it shows up on the piano because that's your input device, but it won't go through on the Fingerchart or the music staff. So that's just in case of, let's say, you're not so good at the piano, like myself, and hit a random note that you're not supposed to. But usually you're fine if you just leave it on chromatic. So some things that I find annoy me when I am playing music, something to watch out for is string crossings. So if you have notes going back and forth between strings that are right next to each other, that's perfectly fine. If you have something like, here, I'll make sure it's in first position, and there with one string in between, it's okay, but you are starting to step up the difficulty level, but should be fine for any violinist to do, or sort of any professional. And then if you go from like here or there, between the G and E strings, that is an awkward string crossing for the bow arm. So you want to try to avoid large leaps like that in your music. It's not so bad if you have a bunch of notes on the G string and then a bunch of notes on the E string. But what is awkward is if you flip back and forth between the two. And then the other thing is shifting. So if let's say you're playing down here on the G string in first position, and then you have a random note. Oops, that wasn't the one I wanted. Yeah, that one. My brain automatically thinks in violin terms, and now I'm having to translate it to piano and then back into violin. So that's why I sometimes make mistakes. Yeah, so if you have a random note that's really high up and then you have to come back down again, that is a little bit awkward, depending on the context. It's not so bad if you have a big shift and then you're staying up there and then having to come back down. But again, just one random note is not so good. And then a shift with a string crossing together is also really difficult. Yeah, so I know this sounds like I'm telling you to dictate fingerings for the violinist, and that's not true. That's not what composers do. But it is really important to be aware of the possibilities, so that way you can catch possible mistakes before handing the music off to the violinist. And of course, make sure to keep really good communication with whoever's performing your work as well. Because if there's something that's awkward or if something that is fine, but they need more time to practice beforehand, they'll let you know. So it's always important to not feel like totally committed in case if it's not going to work out for your deadlines. So how do I stop sharing my screen here?
Jason?
Oh, there it is. There's the button. Okay, I got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
I did write out some more notes about what is easier and what is not for the violin. I can post that to the Slack channel for people to read, and you can message me if you have any more questions about that.
I got a question. How long did it take you to actually develop Chantelle, this app?
Yeah, well, I've become really fast and proficient in Max MSP now. When I first started it, it was several years ago, and then it kind of sat, and I had no other ideas or features to add to it. Um, and then recently, since more composers have said that it could be useful to them, that's when I kind of started thinking, like, okay, what are the sort of features that composers would use to help them sort of like record their music, and whatnot. So I have been continually adding that sort of stuff over the past few weeks.
Okay. Yeah, you just so you know, Chantelle also had this ball that was part of her. Um, was that part? What was that part of? For the was that for the master?
Yeah, that was for my master's
Your
thesis.
thesis.
Yeah, that
What
was just an instrument that is a ball and has a lot of sensors on it that I use to control sound in real time.
I would have loved. I mean, where can people see that video?
Uh, yeah, so I have a link for it on my website. I also have posted all those videos on my YouTube channel as
And
well.
and her website is chantelco.com. Make sure you hit that patreon.com/Highland Violinist. Um, Round of applause for Chantelle, please, everyone. That was amazing. Um, yeah. So next, I'm still checking the contents here. Jason, you got some music for me? Hit me, DJ.
Cool.
There you go. There you go. There you go. How's everyone doing? Good start. We're getting two hawks. We're getting ready for the next one now. Coming up next, Jiajie Chen.
Jiajie Chen,
Yeah, in the house. How you doing, man?
doing well.
Welcome, welcome. Now, a little introduction. Um, when he's not writing music, Jiajie spends the rest of his time doing full stack software engineering, conducting market research at the latest advance in drug development, designing games, and helping patients match with clinical trials. He's 2018 PharmD graduate from St. John University. So please welcome Jiajie Chen to tell us more about his talks on From Lab to Life, how to bring your musical ideas to the next level. Take it away, man.
Okay. So, if I can hear me, right?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So, let's see here. Going back up here. Play. Okay, so hello. My name is Jiajie Chen. Today we'll be discussing From Lab to Life how to bring your musical ideas to the next level. In terms of my biography, I'm a PharmD from St. John's University who happens to have a side interest in music composition. Here's a list of previously performed works, with Farm Fair Suite being my most recent piece performed. And today we will be discussing Farm Fair Suite, which is circled in red on the bottom here. Background-wise, back in mid-2019, I was working on a game of Bill called Farm Fair, and I realized that I needed to find a way to advertise the game. I found a contest online, and I was in the process of drafting the piece up during the Songwriter Lab 2019, which I presented up to Section G for those of you who were there. Seeing that it was approximately 2/3 done, I completed the piece by submission in September 2019, handed it in, and won. As a 2D pharmaceutical medchem puzzle game, Farfair had some thematic points I wanted to put into execution within the piece. The game consists of a player who must go from one red target to the other in a pharmaceutical molecule converted into a maze. Thinking outside the box means that strategic thinking will be vital to solving the puzzles. The puzzles are generated in real time on the machine, and different ways of thinking are needed to solve for the different puzzle environments generated. The contest I applied to was hosted by the Brazos Sports Symphony Orchestra for amateurs and or students. Since the symphonic orchestra is a fairly common instrumentation in contests, it is a repertoire that I'm relatively familiar with. The rules and conditions were stated as is, and masking the identity of the composers allowed me to let my music speak for itself. Since the entry fee was $10, it was easily affordable, and there was a modest cash prize of $500, which is relatively generous given the returns on such a low entry fee. Now I would like to continue to the next portion of the presentation, opening up the video score on the left-hand side of the screen and keeping PowerPoint on the right-hand side. As I play a computerized score, pay attention to how the music fits with the written intentions listed in the slides. Before we begin, notice how the time signature plays a pivotal role in governing how the piece performs from the beginning and how to maximize optimal use of each instrument within the piece to emphasize the advantages of using each instrument.
Jiajie, we can't hear you.
Which part? Before we begin, notice how the time signature plays a
Your
pivotal
mic is
role in
muted.
governing how the piece works from the beginning and how I maximize optimal use of each instrument within the piece to emphasize the advantages of using each instrument. As a disclaimer, computer playback is not the same as live performance, especially when lower rumbling notes are less audible and the timing of the accents are slightly delayed in the live performance. What you'll be hearing is computerized playback of Fanfare Suite as intended within Sibelius, with sounds generated by no performance Sibelius. Due to time constraints, I'll play back the piece at 1.25x speed. Okay. So here's the video on the left, and then here's the slides on the right, and here we go. There's a couple more slides. Hold on. So, as a final note, I have some helpful hints for those of you who are looking into music composition and contests. First, do not put all your eggs in one composition contest because chances are you'll more likely not win than win. In the Best of Sport Symphony Orchestra competition, Farfast we passed the initial review of 17 of 43 was a choice of 2 of the 3 judges, each selected 3 of 17, totaling 7, and finally selected by conductor. Keep practicing if you have the time. Write deliberately by being sure about what you're putting down on score. And listed below are some tools for those of you who would like to start off. Note that Sibelius Ultimate perpetual licensing combined with note performing may cost in the range of several $100s. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask away afterwards in Slack. Here are my links. If anyone wants to help me out financially, please feel free to connect via email at jiajiechen1994@gmail.com. Thank you.
Give it up for Jiajie Chen. Wow. Wow. My God. I'm checking out the comments here. People are blown away. Clearly you worked so hard on this, and you should be commended for that. People think it's easy to get in there, but congratulations. So you put a link. Make sure you follow him on YouTube. Jason's got the link right there on YouTube and his Bandcamp account. And let's keep it going. We've had some amazing talks so far, folks. And we're getting ready, Jason, for what? For the workshop, main event. So stay tuned. The schedule that we have so far is thank you, Jason, for mentioning that. Make sure you drop us some likes on our Instagram, Facebook. I don't have Facebook. YouTube, anywhere else. You want to show us some love. Let's spread this. Let's make sure people know what we do out here at the Music Community Lab. Big round of applause to everyone, all the talks, speakers. This was amazing. I think one of the best. So shout out. Jason, we're gonna now get ready for the brainstorming. Is that correct?
Let's see. Well,
we're doing well on time. We're doing really well on time. It's 1 o'clock. I'm shocked. Mercury retrograde.
We always run a few minutes late. The brainstorming group forming session is going to start in a separate Zoom in just a little bit, but we want to give everyone like a preview of what's to come in the workshops. And for anyone tuned in on YouTube, you should be sure to RSVP to join the Slack so that you can get links to all these awesome workshops that are coming up. They're totally optional, but who was going to intro the workshops here?
I will intro Emma Clay coming up, actress, singer, songwriter. You don't want to miss this one. I actually don't want to miss it. I'm gonna be there listening because I've seen a preview and it's like, what? Next will be my man Clifford Lane. Man, there's nothing to say about Clifford. Clifford has done it all. Pepsi, Spice Girls, name a few, and big time producer. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the jingles that he's written for like Pepsi with like Britney Spears performing Kiss, Spice Girls, as you mentioned, and then he also co-runs a studio and collaborates with Philip Glass.
Yes,
on like a completely other end of the spectrum. So
and he's
super accomplished.
Yeah, he's super talented. He's one of my best friends, and I really wanted him to be here, and I think this would be great for everyone. Don't miss that. Clifford Lane, Emma, and then following him will be Dewey with the loops. If you're into loops, stay tuned. We got with music track. So creating formal structure of an electronic music track by Giorgio Moroder. That's from 4 to 6 p.m. So don't miss Dewey's workshop. That's gonna be hot. That I know it for sure. So next after that, Jason will be Patrick Spencer, and Gonzalo will be doing some amazing stuff with producers Edge and all-inclusive hip-hop songwriting with Koala Sampler. Don't miss it, folks. Stay tuned. We're coming with more fire. What else, Jason? Yeah. So let's say you've done all that creating, worked so hard, and you have your song done. You're pretty happy. What do you do next? Time to publish. So we'll have Patrick, telling you a little bit on his workshop about how to publish your music, and mostly distribute it with DistroKid. And I'm looking forward to that one as well. So we want to thank everyone that's here. Stay tuned, grab something to eat quickly. Want to go to the bathroom, you can do that, but we're going to jump to the workshop soon. No, we're going to start with the group formation, which will be happening on Slack. And just go to your Slack page, follow the info. Once you get in there, Songwriters Lab, there will be a link telling you how to get in the group formation. So we're about to really start the work now. This is where you guys come in. You get to, that's what we call the brainstorming, and it's going to be run by Katarina. So make sure you participate, all of you, share your ideas. It's a free-form group. So what can I say, Jason? You said it all.
Yeah, was someone going to give an overview of how we're going to help encourage people to collaborate?
I can give like a quick overview. So Katarina is going to give you the details in the brainstorming session, which will be starting soon. We just posted the link over in Slack. But essentially, just wanted to do a quick rundown. So we're going to have sort of 3 loose categories of projects, like one for if you want to find people to write and record music with, one for if you want to hack on songwriting tools, and another sort of hybrid category for if you're working on like a hybrid project, like you're making music programmatically or something like that. Just to note that you're welcome to participate in workshops or to join a group to focus on creations, or to move between the two, or to work individually. Just a note that if you do plan to do both, make sure to let your prospective teammates know in the group forming session so that you can find people who are going to be available at similar times. Ideally, like people who are going to be in the same workshops as you, so you can start to get inspired from the same base. Cool. And then this is just a note for later. Once you've found your group and decided to start on a project, you're welcome to start a public Slack channel to collaborate with the people on your team. If you do that, just a note from last time, so make sure to add the prefix, your team name, hashtag songwriter - your team, just so that if people are looking for teams in the channel list, they can browse things alphabetically. And then if you do want to perform or demo at the end, make sure to sign up on the link that'll be posted in the Slack channel around 7 p.m.
And let's get started.
Cool. So if you're not already on the Slack, hope to see you there.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the other Zoom for group formation in just a minute.
Yeah.